Let's back up. This is what I love. Arty Boy did not engage in the costume shenanigans one bit. And the point difference was enough that had he would have been first place. And now we weren't playing around this time, full costumes. How's it feel to go from second place knowing that it was just that piece that could have taken it and now being here and actually cinching it?
I feel like it was an important lesson learned, and I think I just wanted to have more fun with this year. I had this apron made, and it says Arty Boy, DEFCON 31 SECVC, and it's from their official swag shop, so I thought it was fun to have them print it. I only got to change into it at the very end. I had a funny pretext planned, but my main one was going so well, so I didn't want to change it up. But I'm happy I got to show it off a little bit.
I'm curious when Papa John's goes through and finds out and they start looking through the store. I was like, oh, I guess that did happen. Hopefully you use somebody else's address and all of that.
Use a different name at least.
Beautiful. All right. And Doom, this is the first time competing.
Yeah.
Are we going to be in similar shoes? Because I believe you also happen to dress up. And the point difference is not far off. How are we feeling? Are we coming back next year with a win? What do you think held us back?
Yeah, I think missing the easy points. And that was one thing that the coaches talked about, is picking up the easy points. But whenever you get into the booth, and I'm sure everybody else can attest, you just kind of go into tunnel vision and your chest starts caving in a little bit. And I didn't get a call or a flag for like 8 minutes. And I had a few things planned, but I just didn't prepare as much as I wanted to. I know going into this next competition what to expect, and I am going to have every base covered. Every base is and I'm probably going to have a partner.
Oh, you will have a partner?
I believe so, yeah.
Arty Boy didn't need no partner.
Hey, Arty Boy is Arty Boy.
Actually, no, I back up. Let's talk about Arty Boy's partner for a second. A lot of people don't know the cat companion.
Yeah.
This cat's been in it.
My cat helps a lot. My cat took home a trophy last year too. Sometimes she's a bit of emotional stress though, but I have my other non-competition partner who has helped me with the stress at least, and at least one breakdown preparing for this all, but I really appreciate that.
All right, so I have some questions for you both. So let's take it back to the beginning, right? So you sign up for this competition. Well, you were invited back. You get your target company. What is going through your mind when you see a pizza company for the target company? I'll start with you, Jason.
I was nervous because a pizza company is a lot more franchise and store-based than last year, which was commercial real estate. Commercial real estate agents have every incentive to pick up the phone and try to make you happy because they want to sell you things. Person working at a pizza store, not so much. And I was having a lot of trouble finding more corporate numbers. So I thought I'd have to rely on the stores more, which I didn't end up having to as much. The corporate calls went very well, but it was a bit of a squeeze. I was pretty nervous about getting the info I needed out of those people.
I didn't know what to expect. Whenever I first started looking, I probably spent 8 hours and I didn't find much. And then I started digging deeper and going through the different layers of information, and then it just kind of starts opening up. Whenever I first got the company, though, the first thing that thought into my mind was this is going to be tough because Domino's is kind of known for their technology and their pinpoint delivery and all that stuff. So the information is there. If you look for it the correct way, like you can find all the information you really need to plan the attack correctly.
So with preparation, do you have anything that you feel like really set you up for success before even getting the booth? Was there a strategy you did? Was there maybe like one OSIM finding? Was it the coach's help? Like, do you have kind of a path to success that you think was really beneficial for you?
The coaches were really helpful even the second year with new advice and just encouragement to keep going. Persistence was key because there are a few points I wanted to like take a break and stop, but I just kept pushing, especially for like the OSINT report. I remember having like a pretty last minute call with JC, and I was still missing quite a few objectives, but I ended up pushing out like quite a few of them in that last day or two. I think it's just even the last day after our last coaching session, and just keeping at it and thinking, even if my evidence isn't super concrete, how can I prove something or, make the best case I can for all of the OSINT I found? So I think just the persistence and, just making any case I could and piecing together every bit of info I could helped me a lot.
Yeah, similar story. I've got 10 years of academia. I'm old school, so I've wrote thousands and thousands of pages. And the OSINT report, I approached it like I was doing some sort of research, and it was good, but then again, it was bad because you just don't know where you're going to find the information, and sometimes it's good to break off from what you're looking for. It was a whirlwind of experience, and I think that that's the biggest takeaway for me is you just kind of have to go through the process once or twice, and then you learn so much just from your own failures. So if you're at home and you're kind of thinking about doing something like this, just pick a company and see what you can come up with. That would be my biggest suggestion. I wish I would have done that before I actually started the contest.
So we kind of get into an interesting thing with the coaching. That was something Snow and I came up with last year when we built this competition, and we're wondering, how can we give attendees who want to compete that have never competed or have, had any practical experience in this, the best advantage possible? So having the coaches available to you, can you walk me through what that was like? Goods, the bads, the uglies. I will take back anything I did wrong, I'll own and make better. But I am curious, how do you think it affected your ability to compete?
I think, going into it, even before I started the coaching sessions, I was leaning on a lot of the work I did last year, the same OSINT techniques and data sources and whatnot. There are things I had forgotten about or like ideas I hadn't used last year. So just talking to the coaches was really helpful for new ideas and new places to look for info that maybe I didn't use last year. And like I said, just the encouragement to keep going was really helpful. Also, I was, very certain to schedule all the coaching sessions I could this year, and I spaced them apart. So they were also nice little milestones and check-ins, as I was working on the reports and making sure I was keeping progress up every week. I'd have, something new to talk about and not just wasting my time or the coach's time.
It was great for me. I had no clue what to expect going in, and you guys saved me so many points. And it was the biggest takeaway for me was it was consistent, is be ready to pivot whenever you run into an issue. And I ran into an issue and I pivoted. And then another thing that JC told me and a couple other coaches was to stay focused on the task. And, just with the little things like that, I wouldn't have been able to dial it in and, laser focus on what I was doing. So I do appreciate it. It was valuable because I didn't even know what to ask whenever we went into the coaching, and you guys led me down the path. You didn't tell me, you guys led me down the path, and I appreciated that because I can figure it out on my own with your help, guiding me.
All right, so let's talk about getting in the booth. So you get in there, you put the headphones on. What is going through your mind first?
Well, I guess hang on. Before we even do that, on Thursday, again, we are so dedicated to their success. We also have multiple webinars to discuss, hey, here's how it works. Here's what you should be expecting, just to bring everybody together. And then on Thursday, we just have the competitors in here as part of a debrief and give you an ability to look at the booth. So Arty Boy, I know you are intimately familiar with the booth. And so it was like, hello, my old nemesis.
Yes.
I'd like to know two things. One, Arty Boy, your reintroduction. How was that? And then for Doom, how was your first meeting with it?
There were a few new things in the booth which were cool. The little keys, the mute button, and then I also had my iPad in there this year to play background noises. Another thing I did this year I didn't do last year, so I was scrambling, where can I put all my things? And I had a few papers with written notes that helped me a lot. So I got in, I'm trying to sort things out, but it worked pretty well. I was pretty anxious just going into it all, and I didn't have much time to think about it before. The hardest part was like, which phone number do I call first? Looking at my list. But I think, as soon as I typed a number in and hit dial, I wasn't thinking about it much, and I was just in the zone, ready to go.
Yeah, super high pressure situation. For the people that did step in for the 5 minutes, it's hard to explain it, I guess. It's just pressure on your chest. You've got to think fast. And I wish I could have done some things better, but whenever you do go into the booth, I don't know, like some things just escape you. I kind of heard it in passing, and it's true. Whenever you step in there and the clock's running, you freeze up a little bit, and 5 minutes is gone. You're like, okay, now I have 12 minutes to finish. So it's worth experiencing it if you get the opportunity.
So if you're anything like me, you think about, you get out of there, go wander around DEF CON, you do whatever, and then you start fixating on the calls. You're like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have called this number. Did you either have any of those moments, and what were they?
Oh, I made that worse. I think I felt like I got fewer objectives than last year, but I was really happy I got 2 people in my, best 2 calls to go to the website, which I didn't get last year, and I think that helped a lot, so I was really excited about that. I was like, I don't think I got as many objectives, but the ones I did went really well. I think I was nervous, but I'd accepted the possibility of not winning again. I got over the grief last time, so I was like, I'm happy I did my best, and I was just really satisfied leaving the booth.
Yeah, I had 2 in specific. I wish I would have had the gentleman that I got on the phone call me back, and I missed that opportunity. And then another one was, I guess a couple are playing some sounds and wearing an outfit. But like I said, whenever you're in the booth and people start, the clock starts ticking, some things kind of slip my mind, and now I know what to expect and how to overcome that for the next competition.
If you break it, you buy it. What have you done to our microphone?
Do I win the microphone now?
No. So let me ask you this. Everybody's got a good plan until they get punched in the face, right? You're in the booth. So part of what we ask the competitors to do is all of the OSINT report, but then also a Vishing plan report with your pretext, your call flow, how you're going to go through and kind of structure your call. You had a plan. How did it fall apart? And how did that impact you? How were you able to pivot?
Like I said, when I got into the booth, I think the hardest part for me is like, what number do I call first? Do I focus on the stores or the corporate office? I hadn't even really decided that. I was really torn. So I went to the stores, and I had 1 pretext for the stores, and I think I called like 2 or 3, and those were just failing completely. So I switched over to the office with a slightly different pretext, mostly the same one I used last year pretty much. And the 2 office calls I did went pretty well. I think I'd prepared for the possibility of the stores not working, but it still scared me because I had like 50 store numbers and like 5 corporate numbers. So I'm like, if the stores don't go well, I've got to really make the most of the corporate calls, which I did.
Yeah, I kind of went the opposite direction. I had tried calling Domino's corporate a couple times, and I could never get through. I tried multiple times in the day. So corporate was kind of out of reach for me, and I knew that. And if I was going to make that call, it was going to be last ditch. And I almost did that with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the competition. I was going to make the pivot to call them, but there just wasn't enough time. I didn't have I think even a pickup, somebody that would talk to me for the first 5 minutes. 2 or 3 people that I talked to first. I think I had 1 hang up, and another person just like questioned who I was. But man, it gets away from you super quick, and you just got to be ready to pivot. And thankfully the coaches pre-warned us and forewarned us to pivot and be prepared for it.
Jay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
This is your first DEF CON.
Yep.
You're in sales.
I'm sorry?
You're in sales? That's
I was. No, I transitioned. I'm no longer in sales.
okay. You're in InfoSec-ish?
Yeah, InfoSec.
Okay, so is that how you found this
It was,
competition?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've been like a wallfly for like 4 years now, just kind of watching. This transition to tech has been a 5-year plan. So even before, I quit my last industry job, I had ambitions to go into tech, but yes, I've been watching, but yeah, this is
So do you think your experience in sales was beneficial in social engineering?
absolutely. Yeah.
What experience exactly?
Is my experience with
So
sales?
what experience do you have that you feel that was beneficial? So if somebody's listening to this,
Yeah.
right, what is that experience, that background, that knowledge that you had specifically from the sales world that they could look for and go look to in the sales world?
Got you. So my experience with sales, I was the representative for Pappy Van Winkle, Buffalo Trace. So my job was in Seattle, where I would go convince Amazon buyers or Microsoft executives, influencers, I guess not necessarily how to drink it, but why they should try to drink our brands. The key thing that I learned in sales was to find the point that people lie on. What is it that I can emotionally tie you into me? You're going to tell me something within like the first 2 or 3 minutes, and that's how I'm going to sell you something. But with social engineering, I'm not selling you a product. I'm selling you myself or my story or whatever it is. Whenever I told JC what I did, he laughed and he said, "Oh, that's going to be good, but this is nothing like a sales call." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So, and it was nothing like a sales call, but, being able to listen is like the most important thing, what people are telling you in social engineering, with either in their facial expressions or in their body language or, what they'll tell you verbally. People will give you clues on what they want and what they dislike or like. And that really helped.
Beautiful. So with the competition, it's fun for you all, the competitors, because you get to hop in the booth. And it's fun for us because we get like 3 hours of sleep a night and we get to run around and build all this stuff just to tear it down 48 hours later. For everyone else that comes and watches this, the attendees, they're going and watching how you do what you do so that they can possibly build up defenses, do training for their employees, right? And prevent you all from literally winning. So in your calls, or in your opinion, in general, what could have been done differently to stop you? How do we shut you down?
I think about security awareness training a lot, and I remember one of my callers was talking about having like phishing training and stuff, but I rarely see phishing training and security awareness trainings. It's like emails are very well known, but I don't think enough people know about the risk of like phone calls. Someone calls you pretending to be from IT, and a person is just going to believe you. So I think, phishing needs to have that same level of training and scrutiny that emails do.
Yeah, I think the simple answer is for companies to instill some processes, just some ID checks or some verification. Working in the corporate world, all it takes is an email and then the policy's in place. And it seems like they're just not doing that. I can't say that for a fact or not. But if they would just instill simple policies and a way to check some ID or something like that, that would probably stop it. But awareness is first. And I don't know why people don't focus on that, because I'm sure somebody knows the number, but it's like 85-90% of every attack starts with the human element, or is leaked first with the human element. I don't know why companies would not start there. It's the easiest and the probably the least amount of money invested to get it put into place.
Excellent. Yes. So with the awareness piece, it's something we noticed and we called out in some of our findings. Lots of phishing, but it's very rare phishing. Or to Arty Boy's point, right? They will talk about their security awareness training openly. Oh yeah, phishing this and we do that, but completely not connecting the dots that, hey, this is the same thing. I'm just doing it over the phone. Very interesting. If there's somebody in the audience or watching this that thinks, wow, I really want to do that. but they might not be sure if they could actually get into that booth and make the call. What words of encouragement or advice, or just even setting the expectations for what you have to go through mentally to get into that thing? If you're where you are and you could talk to past you when you were on the fence, what would you say? That's the question I want to ask. If you could talk to past you when you're like, I don't know if I should do this, what were those words that you needed to hear?
For me, the motivation was seeing calls in previous years and, seeing almost magic happen with people giving away information. And it was fascinating to me. I didn't have any social engineering experience. So I would just say, if you are interested and did have some fascination, just hold on to that, and you don't need experience. You can try it yourself. It's all about persistence, and the coaches are there to help you and give you experience and guide you. It's worth a try.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth a try. If I was talking to myself a few years back, I'd just say, you can do it. Anybody can do it, really. You're just going to have to get up and get the motivation to do something like this and put yourself in an uncomfortable spot. I left a good paying position in search of something more in life, and I feel like I found it here at the social engineering community. I have been sitting in my living room at a computer for like the last 4 years, doing nothing, talking to nobody, studying, learning how to code, trying to change my life for the better. And this was a blessing to do something like this. I had a couple people come up to me last night and ask about like, hey, are you a master hacker or something? Like, I'm like, no, like I've been in tech, like not even technically, for like a week. I just graduated last week from a bachelor's program. The community around something like this is just awesome. You experience it online in Discord and Twitter, and then you get to come together in person. And like, I'm just so glad I found it. And you're not going to find something like this unless you put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
And I guess the last question that I have, I don't think Snow has any more. And we get this question a lot. We heard it the past day. How are you practicing this without actually doing it? What are you doing in order to prepare for the competition, in order to practice your social engineering, your Vishing skills, without actually, getting paid to do it?
Vishing skills are kind of just social skills and being able to talk to people and be friendly. People want to trust others and open up for the most part and have a friendly conversation. So if you can just have a phone call that feels natural and, doesn't feel too forced or setting off red flags in someone's mind, they're not even going to think about their security training or anything. Like we said, it's just about, I think for me, being friendly, and I work in tech, so I'm having a lot of conversations with people in my company about security. I work in security, so it helps that I'm used to talking about security and IT topics. So I guess another thing is just knowing the subject matter you're talking about, do the research on the company, understand systems and terminology if you can, but it's about approaching people on a level they're comfortable with, friendliness and technicality and similar.
Yeah, that was well put. Just to add on top of that, I'm sure we all deal with the whole inner dialogue that never stops. That's pretty much how I practice. Like I just run through things in my head. I also play video games, and that's where Doom came from. I just play a lot of video games, and I've got the voice changer on Call of Duty and mess with kids whenever there was proximity chat. It's a long story.
Okay. All right. Didn't we just have a whole event helping children? You're harassing children online?
I'm sorry, adults. I play in 18 over
okay.
Lobbies.
Man, children. Got it. Okay. Well, with that, I think we are done with our panel. Thank you to everyone who competed, all of our volunteer sponsors for making this happen. And most importantly, here with us, Arty Boy and Doom, our first and second place winners. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to all of our lovely attendees for coming and supporting everyone in what we do. We all do it for you. Have a safe trip home, and we will see you at the DEF CON closing ceremonies. Thank you.